You've been told your whole life, be nice to her. Treat her like a queen. Give her your time, your attention, your effort, and she'll stay. That's the story you were fed. But here's the brutal truth. The more you chase, the faster you lose her. Think about it. How many times have you poured your energy into a woman, texting her back instantly, sending long messages, trying to show her how much you cared, only to be met with silence? Or worse, that one word, cold reply that felt like a dagger to the chest. You know the feeling, the gut-wrenching moment after double texting her, waiting and staring at your phone like a fool. The endless scrolling through her social media, trying to decode every post, every story, just to figure out where you stand. The humiliation of giving her everything, only for her to ghost you as if you never mattered at all. And the more you tried, the harder you fell. Because no matter how much you gave, it was never enough. You tried to prove your worth. You tried to earn her love. But all you proved was desperation. Listen carefully, because this will sting. It's not her fault. It's not because women are cruel, heartless, or broken. The truth is this: you gave away your power too easily. You made her your center. You made her your oxygen. You convinced yourself that your happiness depended on whether she stayed or left. And in doing so, you handed her the keys to your worth. But here's the Stoic truth you've never been told. Strength does not come from chasing. It does not come from begging. It does not come from overgiving or overproving. Strength comes from mastering yourself. The man who can sit in silence without needing validation. The man who can walk away without bitterness, without hatred, but with calm certainty. The man who doesn't collapse when a woman pulls back. That man is rare. And that man is powerful. You see, society has lied to you since day one. It told you to be softer, to be available, to open up your heart without limits. It told you that the more attention you gave, the more love you'd receive in return. But look around. How has that worked out for men today? Men who bend over backwards end up as options, not priorities. Men who put women above their mission end up overlooked, rejected, forgotten. Men who live to please others end up empty because they've forgotten themselves. That's why this video isn't a feel-good pep talk. I'm not here to pat you on the back and tell you, don't worry, the right girl will come along. This is a truth session. Raw, brutal, unfiltered. Because you don't need comfort. You need clarity. You need to wake up from the illusion that chasing equals love. You need to understand why ignoring isn't a trick. It isn't manipulation. It's a life philosophy. A philosophy rooted in Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us this: your peace is worth more than her validation. Your time is worth more than her attention. Your purpose is worth more than her approval. And until you live by that code, you will always be at the mercy of her moods, her games, her silence. But once you embody it, everything changes. When you stop chasing, she starts noticing. When you stop giving away your energy like it's free, she starts valuing it. When you stop proving yourself, she starts questioning herself. And here's the paradox: the moment you no longer need her is the exact moment she starts to want you. But understand this clearly. Ignoring women is not about hating them. It's not about playing cold, petty games. It's about taking back what should never have been given away in the first place: your presence. Because presence is power. Your attention is a gift. Your energy is sacred. And if she doesn't respect it, you must be willing to withdraw it. That's the essence of a Stoic man. Calm, grounded, untouchable. Not controlled by desire. Not manipulated by silence. A man who can stand alone without crumbling. This introduction is the doorway. If you're tired of being ghosted, rejected, overlooked, or played, if you're tired of feeling disposable, replaceable, invisible, Then listen closely, because from this moment forward, your story changes. You're going to learn why every rule you were taught about women was designed to keep you weak, why the world wanted you soft, eager, always available, and why ignoring, done with discipline, not bitterness, is the foundation of strength, attraction, and freedom. By the end of this journey, you won't just know how to make her chase you, you'll know how to reclaim your throne. Because this is not about her. This is about you. So let's begin. 1. Women want what they can't have. Revised. There's a moment every man has felt. At first, she's interested. Her eyes light up. Her replies come fast. She laughs at your jokes. She leans in like she can't get enough of you. And then, slowly, something shifts. The warmth fades. Her replies turn cold. Her energy slips away. And you're left staring at your phone, asking yourself, what just happened? Most men panic at that point. They think they didn't do enough. They think maybe they need to try harder, give more, prove more, chase more. So they throw themselves into the effort. More texts, more attention, more compliments, more availability. And with every desperate attempt, she drifts even further. The bitter truth is this: women don't crave what they already have. They crave what they can't fully hold. This isn't manipulation. It isn't cruelty. It's deeper than that. It's biology. It's psychology. It's instinct. From the dawn of humanity, we've been wired to chase what is rare. Diamonds, gold, rare art, treasures. What makes them valuable is not their function, but their scarcity. And desire works the same way. When something is rare, we long for it. When something is common, we dismiss it. Women are no different. When she knows you inside out, when she can predict your every move, when you're always there at the snap of her fingers, her brain shuts off the very chemical that fuels attraction. Dopamine, the fuel of anticipation, curiosity, excitement, fires only when there is uncertainty, when the outcome is unknown, when she doesn't know what's coming next. The moment she has you figured out, the moment you've made yourself too easy, that fire burns out. Mystery is not a trick. It is the natural aura of a man consumed by his mission, driven by his purpose, anchored in his own world. When she cannot fully read you, when she doesn't know exactly what you're thinking, when she catches herself wondering, does he even like me as much as I think, her desire spikes. Because uncertainty creates tension. Tension sparks curiosity, and curiosity is the very engine of attraction. Now let's make it real. Imagine two men chasing the same woman. One showers her with constant attention, replies in seconds, cancels his plans to fit her schedule. He's an open book, available on demand. The other man moves differently. He's kind, but not desperate. He replies, but not instantly, because he's busy building. He compliments her, but sparingly, in moments that matter. His life is full, training, creating, working, and she feels she's stepping into his world, not dragging him into hers. Who do you think she loses sleep over? Not the one who's already conquered, not the predictable man who bends at every glance. Her mind stays hooked on the one she can't fully pin down, the one who feels just beyond her grasp, the one who makes her question, where is he when I'm not around? Who is he when he disappears into his world? Do I even matter to him the way he matters to me? That curiosity, that tension, that subtle fear of losing, that is what keeps her chasing. The psychology is clear. The human brain is addicted to uncertainty. Predictability is comfort, but comfort doesn't create desire. What sparks desire is unpredictability. It's why slot machines are addictive. Not because you win every time, but because you might. The reward is uncertain, and that uncertainty keeps you hooked. Women's attraction runs on the same mechanism. When you answer every text before she even locks her screen, there is no anticipation. When you cancel your plans the moment she calls, there is no chase left. And when there is no chase, there is no fire. Biology backs this up. For thousands of years, women sought men who were not easily available. Men who carried status. Men who were rare. Men who stood at the top because they were consumed with something greater than women's approval. That instinct still runs in their blood. When you behave like you have nothing better to do, when your entire life revolves around her, her instincts register you as conquered territory. And conquered territory is boring. So how do you flip the script? You stop revolving your world around her, and you start revolving it around your purpose. You create space and mystery, not by acting cold, but by living fully. When your life is driven by mission, she steps into your orbit, and in that orbit, she feels the pull of gravity she cannot resist. That means your mission comes first. Your growth, your craft, your body, your vision. When she sees you invested in something bigger than her, she feels your rarity. She realizes you are not a man every woman can have. You are a man she has to earn. That means you respond on your time, not on demand. Not to play games, but because you're genuinely busy building something. That means you protect your energy. You don't spill every detail of your life. You don't explain every thought. You keep depth within you that can't be fully read. Because depth is magnetic. And that means you stay grounded when she tests you. When she pulls away, you don't chase. When she goes silent, you don't panic. Your calm presence becomes louder than words. It tells her one thing clearly. This man cannot be moved. This is not manipulation. This is alignment. The Stoics teach, he who has mastered himself is free. When you're consumed with your purpose, you naturally become unpredictable. Not because you're pretending, but because you're living. A man with depth cannot be read in one date, 1 week, or even 1 year. That depth is what keeps her invested. And once you embrace this, you'll notice the shift. She texts first. She lingers longer. She asks questions she never used to ask. She wonders where she stands with you. She invests, not because you begged, but because she feels she could lose you. That is the paradox of attraction. The less you need her, the more she needs you. The less predictable you are, the more magnetic you become. The moment you stop being an open book, she starts reading every page more carefully. So let this truth sink in. Women want what they can't have. Not because they're cruel, not because they're manipulative, but because desire cannot survive certainty. Desire is born from mystery, tension, uncertainty. Stop being too available. Stop being predictable. Stop giving yourself away before she's even earned the right to see you. Live with purpose. Move with intention. Keep parts of yourself reserved. Build a life so full that she has to run to keep up. Because in the end, she doesn't want the man she already holds in her hands. She wants the man who feels just out of reach. She wants the man she might lose. 2. Attention is currency. Every man has been guilty of it. You think you're showing love. You think you're proving loyalty. You think you're demonstrating maturity. But what you're really doing is handing out the most expensive currency you own, and you don't even realize it. That currency is your attention. Every like, every comment, every good morning text, every "you look amazing" under her photo, every little message you send when she hasn't earned it. Those are not free. They are transactions. They are withdrawals from your bank of value, and the moment you give them away without measure, you start going broke. For women, attention is not just acknowledgement. Attention is status. Attention is oxygen. Attention is ego fuel. When she collects it, she feels alive. When it pours in, she feels powerful. And here's the hard truth. She doesn't even have to like you to take it. She just needs to know it's there. She just needs to know you're orbiting, circling her like a planet around the sun. She doesn't need to respond to your message. She doesn't need to call you back. All she needs is to see your name pop up, your like under her picture, your comment beneath her selfie, and instantly, her ego tank is refilled. And the cost? You, your time, your focus, your frame. That's why she posts thirst traps after a dry conversation. That's why she uploads a selfie right after ignoring your message. That's why she watches your story, but leaves your texts on read. She's not trying to connect with you. She's trying to collect from you. She's topping up her ego, using your attention as fuel. And here's the tragedy. Most men don't see it. They think, if I keep showing up, if I keep being consistent, if I keep proving how much I care, eventually she'll choose me. The more you give for free, the less she values it. Because what is abundant becomes invisible. Think of it like water in the desert. In scarcity, every drop is precious. In abundance, every gallon is wasted. When you hand out attention like it's endless, you kill its value. She doesn't cherish it. She doesn't even see it. Because there's no price to pay. There's no effort to earn it. And what comes cheap comes ignored. Now listen carefully, because this is where men destroy themselves. They confuse overgiving with love. They think maturity means responsiveness, availability, endless access. They think they're showing emotional intelligence. But all she sees is another man lining up to donate energy into her bottomless ego account. Another man putting himself beneath her without demand, without standard, without value. And what happens when your value becomes too easy? You become safe. And safety is not sexy. A man is not meant to give energy away without reason. A man's attention is supposed to be rare, selective, earned. That's what makes it valuable. That's what makes it intoxicating. But most men bleed it out like it's infinite, because deep down, they're hoping to get something back. Love, sex, connection, validation. And women can smell that hunger from miles away. She can read your energy in the first few messages. She knows if you're hungry for her reaction. She knows if your self-worth is tied to her engagement. She knows if you're waiting at the edge of your seat for her to notice you. And the moment she feels it, something in her switches. She doesn't need to block you. She doesn't need to ghost you. She simply stops trying, because she knows you will keep giving. And when she knows you'll keep giving, she doesn't have to. That is why your likes don't move her. That is why your comments don't impress her. That is why your constant availability never sparks her curiosity. She knows you'll never run out, and what never runs out never feels valuable. So if you want to shift the balance, you have to withdraw. You have to reclaim. You have to treat your attention like the currency it really is. Before you send a message, ask yourself, has she earned this? Before you watch her story, ask yourself, what do I gain from this? Before you double text, ask yourself, what standard am I reinforcing? Because every time you give, you reinforce the belief that her presence is worth more than yours. Every time you chase, you confirm she is the prize, and you are the pursuer. Every time you donate attention without demand, you lower your own value. And men who win in the long run don't do that. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't give themselves away like a discount. They sit on their throne, and they treat their attention like gold. When you start living that way, everything changes. She feels the silence. She feels the weight of your absence. She starts asking questions. Why hasn't he replied yet? Why didn't he watch my story? Why isn't he reacting like every other man does? And suddenly, you've flipped the script. She's not collecting. You are. She's not controlling. You are. This is not about being rude. This is about being wise. It's about being a man who understands the value of his own energy. It's about building a life so rich, so full, so powerful, that your attention becomes the rarest gift she could possibly receive. Because when your attention is rare, she treasures it. When your attention is scarce, she works for it. And when she works for it, she invests in you. That's how attraction is built. Not through begging, not through constant giving, but through scarcity, through discipline, through making your energy so sacred that only the worthy get to experience it. So the next time you feel the urge to text just to prove you care, pause. The next time you feel like liking her post to remind her you exist, stop. The next time you feel tempted to give away your presence without demand, remember this: your attention is not free. It is currency. It is the throne you sit on. And when you treat it like gold, when you demand it be earned, when you withdraw it from those who don't respect it, you become untouchable. She feels the difference. She feels the gravity. She feels the shift from being the one you orbit to being the one orbiting you. And in that moment, desire is reborn. Because women don't fall for the man who gives everything away. They fall for the man whose energy is so rare, so selective, so grounded, that when he finally chooses to give, it feels like the Oisaka, most valuable gift in the world. Your attention is currency. Guard it, treasure it, spend it wisely, because every second you hand it out, you're either building your kingdom or you're funding hers. 3. Why neediness kills attraction. Neediness, the silent killer of attraction. It's not always the words you say. It's not even always the things you do. It's deeper than that. It's energy. You can tell yourself you're calm. You can tell yourself you're confident. But the truth always leaks. It leaks through your eyes when you look at her with desperation. It leaks through your tone when you're too eager to please. It leaks through your actions when you're always available, always offering, always reaching before she even asks. Neediness is not behavior. It's a broadcast. It's a signal. And women pick it up instantly. Here's the brutal truth. A needy man has already crowned her as superior. In his mind, she's the prize. She's the queen. And he is the beggar, waiting at her feet, hoping for scraps of attention. And no woman can truly desire the man she has already placed beneath her. She can appreciate his kindness. She can use his support. She can keep him in her orbit as the nice guy. But she will never burn for him. She will never crave him, because attraction cannot exist without respect, and respect cannot exist when you've already given away your crown. Think about it. How many times have you seen the pattern? The nice guy who bends over backward, who always says yes, who always checks in, who tries to prove his loyalty every chance he gets. He's not hated. He's not ignored. In fact, sometimes she keeps him around. But not as the man she desires, not as the man she chooses. He becomes the backup plan, the emotional crutch, the safe option when nothing else is available. And the moment the man she truly desires walks in, the one who's detached, focused, centered, she runs to him without hesitation. She runs to the man who didn't crown her before she earned it, the man who doesn't need her validation to breathe, the man whose energy says, "I am whole, with or without you." Neediness kills attraction because it destroys polarity. Masculine energy is supposed to lead, to hold, to anchor. Feminine energy flows, tests, surrenders. But when a man becomes needy, he flips the script. He turns himself into the one chasing, begging, grasping, and she feels it, not in her head, but in her body, in her instincts. Her biology screams, "This man is not safe. This man cannot lead." Why? Because if your entire self-worth is tied to her approval, then you're unstable, you're volatile, you're reactive, and a woman cannot relax into a man who is shaken by her every mood. She cannot trust the man who bends at every test. She cannot follow the man who collapses the moment she pulls back. That's why the Stoics warned against dependence. They taught that the man who builds his peace on another's reaction is already enslaved. And that's what neediness is: emotional slavery, You've chained your self-worth to her attention. And in doing so, you've given her the power to control your highs and your lows. One smile from her, and you're elated. One cold text, and you're crushed. One kiss, and you're on top of the world. One silence, and you're drowning. That's not strength. That's addiction. And addiction is never attractive. The hardest pill to swallow is this. You thought your kindness would win her heart. You thought being available, being supportive, being endlessly generous would make her see your worth. But it doesn't. Because love without boundaries feels weightless. Attention without cost feels cheap. Effort without demand feels desperate. And desperate energy repels. Not because women are cruel, but because their instincts are wired to pull away from weakness, to test it, to push against it, to flee from it. That's why the harder you try, the colder she becomes. That's why the more you give, the less she invests. That's why the more you chase, the faster she runs. It's not your behavior she rejects. It's the energy behind it. So how do you kill this poison? How do you strip away neediness and reclaim your power? The answer is not in pretending. You can't fake calm. You can't fake strength. You can't fake confidence, because women feel energy, not words. The answer is in becoming full on your own. You stop overgiving. You stop offering before she earns it. You stop proving yourself in hopes she'll finally choose you. Instead, you save your energy for those who respect it. You save your effort for those who reciprocate. You build a life so rich that her approval is a bonus, not your oxygen. A man with mission is never needy. A man with purpose doesn't beg for attention. A man who walks the Stoic path knows this truth. I am the prize. I do not chase, I attract. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold, heartless, indifferent. It means you lead with strength, not desperation. You give with boundaries, not with emptiness. You love with standards, not with chains. Because when you stand firm in your own worth, she feels it. She feels it in your silence when she tests you and you don't break. She feels it in your calm when she pulls away. And you don't chase. She feels it in your presence when you look at her, not as the solution to your emptiness, but as a companion to your fullness. And that energy, that is magnetic. That is intoxicating. That is irresistible. The truth is simple. Neediness kills attraction because it kills respect. And without respect, desire cannot breathe. So stop making her your oxygen. Stop giving her the crown she hasn't earned. Stop proving what never needed proof. Stand tall, hold your frame, build your life, protect your energy, and watch how everything shifts. Because the moment you no longer need her to validate you is the moment she starts craving your validation. The moment you stop begging for her attention is the moment she starts working for yours. The moment you stop being the backup is the moment you become the prize. And that's the essence of Stoic strength. Unmoved, untouchable, whole. Neediness kills attraction, but mastery of self creates it. 4. Detachment equals power. There is a principle older than every love story, older than every piece of dating advice, older than every modern relationship strategy. The Stoics taught it thousands of years ago, and it remains unshakable today. That principle is detachment. Detachment is not coldness. Detachment is not cruelty. Detachment is not being numb. True detachment is emotional control. It is the ability to feel everything, yet choose what deserves a response. It is the strength to stand firm when everything around you is pulling, testing, and demanding you to break. Most men have been trained to do the opposite, to react immediately, to defend themselves, to chase the moment she pulls away, to explain themselves when she withdraws, to prove their worth every time she tests. But here's the harsh truth. The man who reacts instantly is the man who is controlled, and the man who is controlled will never be respected. Detachment flips the dynamic. The moment you stop being pulled by her emotions, the moment you refuse to dance to her moods, you become rare. You become magnetic. You become the man she cannot figure out, the man she cannot control, the man who lives by his own rhythm. Think about it. When she ignores you, most men panic. They spiral. They text again. They over-explain. They beg. But the man who is detached, he goes to the gym. He reads. He builds his empire. He sharpens himself. He invests in his world. He doesn't collapse because someone didn't text him back. He doesn't stop his mission because someone played a game. And that man, he stands out. Because here's the paradox. When you show you don't need her validation, that's when she starts chasing yours. When you show you won't crumble at her silence, that's when she starts breaking her silence. When you show that you remain steady no matter what, that's when she feels the urge to move towards you. This is not manipulation. This is mastery. The Stoics would say, you cannot control what others do. You can only control your response. And in relationships, that is the ultimate power. Because the man who is detached, the man who doesn't give his emotions away to every test, becomes the anchor. He becomes the foundation. And women are wired to be drawn to foundation, not fragility. Detachment is what separates the man who leads from the man who pleads. The man who sets the pace from the man who stumbles behind. The man who holds the frame from the man who breaks under pressure. But let's be clear, detachment is not indifference. A detached man feels everything. He notices every shift. He senses every test. He feels every silence. But he doesn't let those feelings drive his behavior. He chooses his actions with intention, not with desperation. That's why detachment is so intoxicating. Because when a woman realizes she cannot control you, when she sees her mood doesn't dictate your strength, when she feels that your world doesn't crumble with her withdrawal, she experiences something rare. Respect. And respect is the soil where attraction grows. Picture this. A woman pulls away to see if you'll chase. You don't. You remain calm. You don't argue. You don't beg. You don't spiral. You simply stay on your mission. You go to the gym. You work on your goals. You build your business. You sharpen your skills. You don't announce it. You just do it. And when she looks back, she doesn't see a man desperate for her return. She sees a man already moving, already building, already rising. And suddenly, she's the one chasing. Not because you ignored her, but because you refused to collapse. Detachment is power because it removes her control over your emotions. It removes her ability to make or break your day with one word, one silence, one reaction. And that power shifts the dynamic entirely. Most men fear distance. They fear silence. They fear what happens when they don't respond instantly. But the detached man understands that silence is not weakness, it is strength. Distance is not punishment, it is gravity. And the pause between her text and your response is not a loss. It is an opportunity. This is what I call the emotional pause, the practice of not reacting instantly, the discipline of sitting in discomfort without rushing to fix it, the art of breathing before you respond. When she tests you with silence, practice the pause. When she provokes you with words, practice the pause. When she withdraws her warmth, practice the pause. Because in that pause, you reveal who you are. A needy man reacts. A stoic man reflects. The man who reacts says, I need you to validate me right now. The man who pauses says, I choose what deserves my energy. And that pause, that stillness, that silence, is louder than any reaction, because it shows her that you are not controlled. You are not desperate. You are not waiting at the edge of her decisions. You are steady. You are grounded. You are whole. This is the man women cannot walk away from easily, not because he begged them to stay, but because his detachment makes him unforgettable. His calm creates a tension they cannot escape. His silence makes them hear their own thoughts louder. Detachment, at its core, is freedom. Freedom from her moods, freedom from her tests, freedom from the slavery of constant reaction. And here's the truth. Most men cannot handle it. They don't know who they are without the drama, without the chase, without the constant need for approval. They feel empty without it, and that's why they stay trapped. But the man who learns detachment becomes dangerous. Because the moment you no longer fear losing her, she begins to fear losing you. Not because you played her, not because you manipulated her, but because you mastered you. That is the foundation of real attraction. A man whose emotions belong to him. A man who doesn't debate his worth. A man who doesn't argue to be understood. A man who doesn't explain his value. He simply lives it. So practice this. When you feel the urge to respond instantly, pause. When you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. When you feel the panic rising as she pulls away, pause. In that pause, you become the rarest man of all. The man who doesn't chase, the man who doesn't break, the man who doesn't flinch. And when you live this way, everything changes. She sees it, she feels it, she senses it deep in her bones, that you are not hers to control, that you are not moved by games, that you are not addicted to her validation. And in that moment, her attraction is no longer about logic. It's primal, it's instinct, it's something she can't explain, can't resist, can't turn off. Because women don't crave the man who bends, they crave the man who stands tall. They don't chase the man who reacts, they chase the man who pauses. They don't respect the man who collapses, they respect the man who remains whole. Detachment is not about pretending not to care. It's about building yourself until you don't need to. It's about living so deeply in your mission that her approval becomes background noise. It's about holding your frame so firmly that her tests can't move you. That is why detachment equals power. Because when you master detachment, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you become untouchable. 5. How to truly ignore her. Most men get this wrong. When they hear ignore her, they think of games. They think of blocking her number, ghosting her, giving her the silent treatment like a child throwing a tantrum. But that's not real power. That's not strength. That's not what we're talking about. To truly ignore a woman is not to play pretend. It's not to vanish in hopes she'll chase you back. It's to reach such a level of inner strength, of unshakable clarity, that her presence or her absence doesn't move your direction an inch. That is true ignoring, not because you don't care, but because your life, your mission, your vision is so full that her behavior cannot control your state. And this is where weak men crumble. When she vanishes, they panic. When she goes silent, they text. When she withdraws, they chase. Their entire world bends around her absence. But the strong man, the Stoic, he doesn't bend. She disappears, and he stays steady. She pulls away, and he keeps walking forward. She tests, and he doesn't flinch. That's the difference. Weak men orbit women. Strong men walk their path, and women orbit them. You see, ignoring her is not about her. It's about you. It's about proving to yourself that your emotions are not chained to someone else's attention. It's about mastering the art of self-control so deeply that you no longer live at the mercy of her responses. Picture this. She vanishes for 3 days. The needy man spirals. He checks his phone every hour. He drafts messages. He asks himself, what did I do wrong? He waits by the screen like a dog waiting for scraps. And when she finally comes back, he floods her with forgiveness, begging her not to leave again. The strong man. He notices, sure. He feels the sting, yes, but he doesn't stop. He wakes up early. He trains. He reads. He writes. He builds. he invests. He lives. He does not collapse because someone withheld a text. His mission is louder than her silence. His progress drowns out her absence. And when she finally comes back, she doesn't return to a man begging. She returns to a man who has grown stronger. That is how you ignore her the right way. Not to punish her, not to manipulate her, but to protect your peace. To prove to yourself that you are complete without her. And here's the truth. Women feel this difference. They can tell when you're ignoring as a trick versus when you're simply consumed with your purpose. They know when your silence is fake, when it's forced, when you're secretly staring at your phone hoping she'll break first. That's not power. That's weakness disguised as strength. Real ignoring is not silence for her. It's silence for you. It's the discipline of not reacting. It's the refusal to be a puppet pulled by her strings. It's the choice to keep moving forward, with or without her. That's why the Stoics thrived even in chaos. They understood that the external world is beyond control. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot command their consistency. But you can command yourself. You can master your focus. You can choose your mission over your mood. And the man who does this becomes rare. He becomes magnetic, because a woman can't help but feel it when her presence is not your oxygen. She can't help but respect it when you don't chase her games. She can't help but crave it when she realizes that her withdrawal doesn't break you. It reveals you. So the question is, how do you practice this? You stay busy with your mission. You don't fill silence with begging. You fill silence with building. When she's quiet, you're training. When she's distant, you're learning. When she's gone, you're building. You let your life speak louder than your words. Let your results answer her tests. Let your progress become the story she can't ignore. This means when you feel the urge to text again, pick up a book instead. When you feel the urge to check her social media, check your workout schedule. When you feel the urge to ask her where she's been, ask yourself where you're going. Because here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing her, she begins to wonder where you went. The moment you stop reacting, her silence, she starts reacting to yours. The moment you no longer need her presence to validate you, she starts craving yours to validate her. And if she doesn't come back, even better, because it proves you were never meant to waste your energy there. Her exit was a blessing. Her absence was a filter. And your detachment has freed you to keep building without distraction. True ignoring is not about making her chase. It's about reminding yourself that you never needed to. It's about shifting from desperation to discipline, from obsession to focus, from dependence to strength. And once you master this, you become untouchable. Not because women don't affect you, but because they can no longer control you. You choose your reactions. You choose your energy. You choose your mission. That is real freedom. That is real power. That is what makes you unforgettable. So remember, ignoring her is not about punishing her. It's about mastering you. It's not about playing games. It's about ending them. It's not about silence for manipulation. It's about silence for strength. Because the man who truly ignores is not the man who withholds words. He's the man who keeps walking. He's the man who stays grounded. He's the man who proves every single day that his path does not bend for anyone. And that man, that's the man she will never forget. 6. You are the prize. There's a lie every man has swallowed at some point in his life. A lie whispered by movies, by songs, by society, by the endless stream of simps online. The lie is this: her beauty is the reward. She is the prize. She is the center. And you, if you're lucky enough, might earn a chance to orbit her world. That belief has destroyed millions of men. Because the moment you believe she is the prize, you lower yourself. You beg. You chase. You prove. You sacrifice your standards just to be chosen. And the second you pedestalize her, She does what every human does when placed above another. She looks down. And here's the hard truth. No woman can truly respect a man she looks down on. She can use him. She can manipulate him. She can keep him around for comfort. But she will never crave him. She will never fight for him. She will never see him as the one. The Stoic reframe flips this lie on its head. A man is not a satellite orbiting her. A man is the center. A man is the gravity. A man is the prize. And here's why. Beauty, while powerful, is not value. Looks fade. Attention shifts. Trends change. And when you define her beauty as the ultimate reward, you set yourself up for slavery. You worship something temporary, and you sacrifice your own permanence. A man's value is not in his desperate devotion. It's in his ability to create, to lead, to protect, to command respect. It's in his mission. It's in his discipline. It's in his presence. That's what makes him the prize. Not because women say it, not because society affirms it, but because reality proves it. Think about history. Kingdoms were not built around beauty. Empires were not forged because of who had the prettiest smile. They were built by men with vision, with strength, with resolve. And women followed, not because they were begged to, but because the man's life was already moving with purpose. When you pedestalize a woman for her looks, you destroy polarity. You make her the sun, and yourself the satellite. But polarity demands the opposite. The man is the anchor. The man is the standard. The man is the one who decides who gets access. Let me give you the brutal example. The nice guy who treats her like a goddess from the first day, who showers her with compliments, who gives her boyfriend energy before she's even earned it. He's not the man she respects. He's not the man she invests in. He's the man she tolerates. He's the backup plan. He's the safety net she uses when the man she truly desires doesn't choose her. Because women don't fall in love with men who worship them. They fall in love with men who lead them. So what does it mean to be the prize? It means redefining your standards. It means recognizing that your time is valuable, your energy is sacred, and your love is not free. It means knowing that what makes a woman worthy of you is not just beauty. It's what she brings into your life. Peace, respect, loyalty, devotion, femininity. These are the true currencies. Any woman can bring beauty, but not every woman can bring peace to your world. Not every woman can respect your standards. Not every woman can stay loyal when temptation strikes. Not every woman can devote herself to your mission as much as you do. And those qualities are what separate a girl from a queen. Being the prize means you evaluate. You don't beg. You discern. You don't chase. You choose. You don't plead to be chosen. You understand that not every woman qualifies, no matter how pretty she is. Because beauty might turn heads, but respect, loyalty, and devotion are what keep you fulfilled. And this is where most men fall apart. They think being chosen by a beautiful woman means they are valuable. But the truth is the opposite. A woman becomes valuable when she is chosen by a man of value. The man who knows his worth doesn't rush to prove it. He doesn't drop everything for a pretty face. He doesn't hand over his time like it's cheap. He doesn't worship her beauty while ignoring her behavior. He watches, he observes, he tests, he measures, because he knows he is the prize. And when you embody this, something shifts in her. She feels it in your tone. She feels it in your silence. She feels it in your refusal to bend. Suddenly, you're not another man trying to prove yourself. You are the man she has to prove herself to. That dynamic flips the script. Instead of you chasing her, she invests in you. Instead of you competing for her attention, she competes for your approval. Instead of you worshiping her beauty, she works to earn your respect. And here's the beauty of it. It doesn't make you cruel. It makes you free. Because the man who knows he's the prize doesn't fear rejection. He doesn't crumble if she leaves. He doesn't beg for validation. Why? Because his value existed before she ever arrived, and it will exist long after she leaves. This is the core of Stoicism: to stand unshaken in your worth, to build your foundation on yourself, not on someone else's approval, to know that what walks away was never yours, and what's meant for you will never require begging. So the next time you look at a beautiful woman, remember this: her looks are not the reward. Your presence is. Her body is not the treasure. Your energy is. Her attention is not the prize. Your mission is. And if she wants to be in your life, she has to bring something more than beauty. She has to bring peace instead of chaos, respect instead of games, loyalty instead of betrayal, devotion instead of distraction. Because you are the prize, you are the anchor, you are the foundation. Stop pedestalizing her. Stop orbiting her. Stop acting like your value depends on being chosen. You are the chooser. You are the standard. You are the gravity she orbits around. And once you live this truth, everything changes. You stop begging. You stop proving. You stop lowering your standards. And she starts rising to meet them. Because the truth is simple. The prize does not beg. The prize does not chase. The prize does not compete. The prize stands firm, admired, respected, sought after. And when you finally believe that, you stop being disposable. You stop being overlooked. You stop being the backup plan. You become the man she can't forget. You are the prize. Never forget it. 7. Her tests are loyalty checks. Every man faces it. Every relationship, every interaction, every spark of attraction comes with it. Her tests. And most men misunderstand them. They see her tests as cruelty, as manipulation, as unnecessary drama. They take it personally, and in doing so, they fail. But here's the truth. Women don't test you to destroy you. They test you to measure you. They don't test because they hate you. They test because they don't fully trust you yet. And trust is not built when things are easy. Trust is forged in fire. A woman's tests are loyalty checks. They are her subconscious way of asking, "Are you solid? Can you hold me? Can I feel safe with you even when I push?" And how you respond reveals everything. The weak man argues. He explains. He begs. He takes the bait every time. She throws a little jab. He snaps back. She withdraws. He chases. She challenges his frame. He collapses. And in that moment, she gets her answer. He is not solid. He is not grounded. He is not the man she can trust. But the strong man, the stoic man, he passes. Not because he ignores her, not because he doesn't feel anything, but because he remains calm, unshaken, grounded. He sees the test for what it is, an opportunity, not a threat. When she teases, he smiles. When she withdraws, he stays steady. When she provokes, he doesn't flinch. When she questions, he doesn't over-explain. Because he understands. If she can move you too easily, she cannot trust you deeply. If her emotions can control your emotions, she cannot rest in you. That's the essence of these tests. Women are wired to push, to prod, to poke, not because they want to ruin you, but because they want to reveal you. They want to know, are you a man who breaks, or a man who bends steel with his calm? And this is where most men lose. They see every test as a threat to their ego. They think they must defend themselves. They think they must explain themselves. They think they must argue for their worth. But the moment you argue, you've already lost. Because the test was never about your words. It was about your energy. The man who passes the test doesn't fight fire with fire. He doesn't argue over trivial things. He doesn't collapse under pressure. He doesn't hand over his frame. He holds it. He breathes. He smiles. He continues walking his mission. And the paradox is, that's when she relaxes. That's when she begins to trust. That's when she feels something most women rarely feel: safety. Not safety in comfort, but safety in strength. Because here's what women crave deep down: a man who cannot be shaken by their storms, a man who can stand tall when they throw emotional waves, a man who doesn't drown in her moods but stays afloat in his clarity. Fail the test, and she pulls away more. Pass the test, and she invests more. It's that simple. So how do you pass? By reframing every test as a gift. When she teases you, don't get defensive. Laugh. When she withdraws, don't chase. Focus. When she criticizes, don't crumble. Listen. Smile. Keep steady. When she tries to trigger you, see it for what it is: a loyalty check. This is where Stoicism shines, because the Stoic man doesn't hand his emotions over to the world. He chooses what deserves a response. He knows his energy is sacred, his presence is rare, his peace is valuable. He will not break it for a test. He will not trade it for a reaction. And women feel that. They respect that. They crave that. You see, her tests are not walls to stop you. They are doors to pass through. Fail, and the door closes. Pass, and the door opens wider. The truth is, her tests are opportunities disguised as challenges. Opportunities to show her, without words, that you are who you say you are, that you are unshaken, that you are grounded, that you are the man she can lean on when storms hit. So the next time she tests you, don't see an attack. See a chance to prove, not to her ego, but to her instincts, that you are solid. Because at the end of the day, women don't remember the men who argued the best. They remember the men who stood tall when tested. They remember the man who didn't fold. They remember the man who gave them the rare gift of strength. And that is how you win. Not by debating, not by explaining, not by begging, but by standing still, calm, grounded, untouchable. Her tests are loyalty checks. Pass them, and she invests. Fail them, and she walks. The choice is always yours. So recognize them, reframe them, use them. Let them refine you into the man who doesn't chase validation, but commands respect. Because when you stop seeing her tests as threats and start seeing them as opportunities, everything changes. You stop being reactive. You stop being defensive. You stop being the man who crumbles. You become the man who anchors. And that man, that's the man she trusts. That's the man she respects. That's the man she chooses, not because he begged for it, but because he proved it through silence, through calm, through strength. That is the Stoic way. 8. Master the energy. Every interaction between a man and a woman boils down to this: who controls the energy, who sets the pace, who bends, and who holds the frame. This is the silent battle happening beneath every text, every look, every conversation. Most men never realize it. They think relationships are about words, gifts, dates, promises. But deeper than all of that lies the truth. Energy decides everything. When you walk into a room with her, the question is never, "What will I say?" The real question is, whose rhythm will we follow? If she sets the tone and you follow, you've already lost. If her moods dictate your reactions, you've already surrendered control. The Stoic man understands this law. Never dance to her mood. Never let her emotional waves knock you off balance. Because the moment you react, the moment you over-explain, the moment you bend your rhythm to hers, you've given away the frame. Think about it. She pulls back, and you panic. She gets cold, and you heat up with neediness. She becomes moody, and you scramble to fix it. That's what weak men do. They mirror her instability instead of standing in their own stability. And every time you do that, she feels it. She feels your energy collapsing into hers. And nothing kills attraction faster than that. Because here's the truth. Women don't want a man who matches their moods. They want a man who steadies their moods. They want a man who sets the pace, a man who leads the rhythm of the interaction, a man who doesn't fold into her storms, but becomes the calm eye at the center of them. Mastering energy means this: when she escalates, you stay grounded. When she tests, you stay calm. When she withdraws, you don't chase. When she becomes unpredictable, you become unshakable. And this is where most men fail. They think their job is to constantly please, to constantly reassure, to constantly adjust to her every shift. But all that does is tell her, "I'm not solid on my own. I need you to define me." The Stoic man flips that script. He lives with his own rhythm. He walks with his own pace. He speaks with his own clarity, and she feels it instantly. Because rare is the man who doesn't bend under her moods. Rare is the man who doesn't crumble under her silence. Rare is the man who doesn't overreact when she pulls away. And rare is always valuable. So how do you master the energy? First, stop overreacting. When she tests you, don't explode. Don't panic. Don't spiral into drama. Breathe, hold. Let the storm pass while you remain unmoved. Second, stop over-explaining. You don't need to justify every decision. You don't need to convince her of your worth. You don't need to argue for your value. The more you explain, the weaker you look. Strength doesn't need to explain. It demonstrates. Third, stop pleasing. A man who lives to please is a man who forgets his own center. Pleasing is not leadership. Pleasing is not attraction. Pleasing is begging in disguise. Instead of bending to make her comfortable, build a life she wants to step into. Mastering energy means you take responsibility for the atmosphere. You set the tone. You create the rhythm. You decide the pace. And she either matches it or she leaves. But what you never do is collapse into hers. Picture this. She gets moody for no reason. The weak man reacts. "What's wrong? Did I do something? Please don't be mad." He hands over the frame. But the strong man, he smiles. He continues his mission. He doesn't flinch. He gives her the gift of steadiness. And within minutes, she adjusts to his calm. Because energy is contagious. When you master yours, you master hers. That doesn't mean you dominate with force. It doesn't mean you suppress her feelings. It means you become the anchor. The one she looks at and thinks, "No matter how wild my emotions get, he doesn't break. He doesn't bend. He holds." And that's when attraction deepens. That's when respect grows. That's when she feels something primal, safety in your strength. Because deep down, women crave a man whose energy they can trust. Not a man who feeds into chaos, but a man who calms it. Not a man who runs after every mood, but a man who makes her run after his steadiness. This is the essence of leadership in relationships. It's not about money. It's not about looks. It's about energy. The man who controls the energy controls the dynamic. So ask yourself, in your interactions, who leads the rhythm? Who sets the tone? Who frames the moment? If the answer is always her, you've already lost. But when you learn to master the energy, when you stop overreacting, stop over-explaining, stop pleasing, you begin to lead without effort. You become the man she follows without knowing why, because she doesn't fall for the man who argues best. She falls for the man who feels unshakable. She doesn't stay for the man who bends to her moods. She stays for the man who makes her moods bend to his calm. Mastering energy is not about being cold. It's about being centered. It's not about controlling her. It's about controlling you. And when you control you, everything changes. You become the pace setter. You become the anchor. You become the gravity. And that, more than looks, more than charm, more than words, that is what makes you unforgettable. So remember, every interaction is an energy exchange. Decide now, Will you keep giving your power away? Or will you master your energy, hold your frame, and let her orbit your strength? The choice is yours. You've made it here. You've walked through every truth, stripped away every illusion that has blinded men for generations. And now, everything is clear. Your power has never been in chasing women. It has always been in mastering yourself. Look back. Women crave what they cannot fully have. No one longs for what is easy, always available, always waiting. Mystery, challenge, unpredictability. That's the spark that ignites desire. The moment you become too predictable, too easy, the flame dies. And this isn't a game, it's instinct. Every action you take is an exchange of value. Every text, every compliment, every drop of attention you hand out without thought is gold leaking from your kingdom. For women, attention is status, ego fuel, oxygen, and if you give it away endlessly, it becomes worthless. But when you treat it like gold, rare, precious, earned, everything changes. You no longer invest to prove your worth. She invests to prove hers. Neediness is poison. It's not a behavior. It's an energy. It drips from your eyes, your tone, your posture, your endless availability. The needy man crowns her queen of his worth and turns himself into a beggar. And no woman can respect a man she must look down on. The opposite of neediness is detachment. Not coldness, not numbness, but emotional control. The ability to feel everything, but choose what deserves a response. The Stoic man cannot be pulled like a puppet by someone else's moods. He walks with mission, with discipline, and it makes him rare. And rarity is always magnetic. This is why ignoring her isn't a childish game. It's a way of life. It's building a world so full that her presence or absence cannot dictate your direction. The weak panic when she disappears. The strong continue training, building, advancing. And paradoxically, when you no longer need her, that is when she begins to crave you most. Because you are the prize, not her beauty, not her validation, not her approval. You, your mission, your discipline, your presence. A real man does not beg to be chosen. He sets the standard and allows others to prove themselves worthy of staying. Her tests, they are loyalty checks, not attacks, not cruelty. They are instinct asking, are you steady? Are you strong enough to hold your frame even when I push you? If you argue, explain, beg, you fail. If you remain calm, grounded, unshaken, you pass. And when you pass, she doesn't just respect you more, she trusts you deeper. And above all, remember this: the one who controls the energy controls the dynamic. Every interaction is an exchange of energy. Weak men overreact, over-explain, over-please. The Stoic man leads with his own rhythm. He doesn't dance to her moods. He is the anchor, the calm center, the one who sets the pace. And when she feels that steadiness, she adjusts to him. That's when attraction deepens, when curiosity grows, when she is pulled into his orbit without knowing why. All of these truths were never about women. They have always been about you. This isn't dating advice. This isn't pickup tricks. This is philosophy, a way of life, a framework to make you untouchable, unshakable, unforgettable. So carve this into your mind. A man doesn't chase. He attracts. He doesn't beg. He chooses. And in that stillness, the world begins to revolve around him. This isn't arrogance. This is alignment. This is you stepping back into your rightful role, the leader, the standard, the center. Women, opportunities, respect, success, none of these ever belong to the man who kneels. They belong to the man who builds, who creates, who leads his own path. And if you've come this far, you are no longer most men. You are not the disposable, the overlooked, the backup plan. You are part of the rare few willing to face the truth. willing to discipline yourself, willing to become untouchable. But here's the reality. You can't just know these truths. Millions of men will nod along, feel inspired, and tomorrow they'll fall back into old habits. They'll text in desperation. They'll hand over their energy like it's worthless. They'll forget what they just learned. And they will stay trapped. Don't be that man. Be the man who acts, the man who breathes this philosophy, the man who lets every step, every choice, every silence echo with strength. If you need the weapons to carve this permanently into your life, then read the Stoic Relationship Blueprint. It's not just a book. It's the map out of weakness, the manual for freedom, the guide to becoming the man who cannot be moved. But remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. That's why this channel exists. The unshakable Stoic path was created to remind you, to sharpen you, to fuel you every step of the way. So do this right now. Hit subscribe to the unshakable Stoic path, not just to watch another video, not just to collect information, but to join a brotherhood of men who refuse to live as prey and choose to live as leaders. Every time you subscribe, you are not just supporting the channel, you are declaring to yourself, I'm ready. I will never go back to who I was. So carry this truth with you. A man doesn't chase. He attracts. He doesn't beg. He chooses. And in that stillness, the world begins to revolve around him. This is the Stoic way. This is your way. And your journey begins now.